Hey everybody, welcome back to the Austin Lindsay channel. So today I am talking about the One Wheel Pint, and you might be asking, what does this have to do with photography? And not a whole lot, but I did get this thing so I could go and explore photography locations around my area. And so I thought I would just kind of talk about it in this video and just kind of tell you my experience with it. Kind of, if you decide to get one, like what it will be like, maybe your first couple of days or what to expect. So yeah, I figured I'd just kind of ride this along and do a little bit of rambling and talk about it. So I was doing a bunch of research on this thing and I saw all these YouTubers just kind of zipping along, holding their cameras and going to give food and talking while they're riding this thing, and I was like, that would be super fun to do as well. And then I bought the thing and I rode it my first 3 or 4 hours, and holy crap, I was super scared of this thing because it's like taking a basketball and putting a board on top of it and then trying to balance on that, and then you do that while moving. And this one that I have, the Pint, will go 14 miles an hour, so you do that your first time and it's just super scary. So after day one, I was actually considering reselling this thing because I was just so discouraged. I was like, I'm gonna be able to do all the cool YouTuber stuff, and then I was scared of it. If you do any type of board sports already, you won't have any type of trouble riding this thing. If you're like me, I'm a 30-something-year-old dude who mostly sits on the couch and haven't ridden a skateboard since I was 15, then yeah, you're gonna have to get all your muscle memory back and all your balance back. But that's kind of what this video is here to help you do, is figure out the things that you'll probably be faced with if you're a person like myself buying one of these things for the first time. So I told myself I would give myself 7 full days to try this out and see if I actually like it. So you have to really develop your thigh muscles and your calf muscles and all that stuff. And it took a while to figure out how to let my ankles take the movement of the board and not let it throw my whole body off balance. So what I did was I rode it around in figure eights and in circles, and that did help me get my balance quite a lot. One thing I would recommend is find a street or a place that's a lot smoother. My street's really rocky and bumpy, so I definitely wouldn't recommend trying it out on a street like that first time, because that's definitely going to throw your balance off a lot. So one thing I did do is I took it to my work, which has smoother concrete floors and some little bit of carpety area, and that was really helpful because what I did was I was able to ride it around on a smooth surface without bumps throwing me off. And then I had desks and things around, so if I started to get wobbly, I could use them really quickly to just push myself back up. So if you have a warehouse or some sort of smooth surface, that's a really good place to start. And one thing I'd maybe watch out for is taking it out for your first couple of times on sidewalk with really uneven cracks, especially near a busy road. So I took it on there and it scared the crap out of me because I thought I was gonna fly off from one of these uneven cracks, fall into the road and have my head squished. So be careful of that. I would say wear a helmet. Obviously I'm not. I do have wrist guards, but if I'm going around the neighborhood where I've been a bunch of times, I usually don't wear them. If I'm gonna go out in a place new and I don't know the area, then I will. But yeah, just watch out for your, the sidewalk cracks and stuff when you're first starting out. As a comparison, it was around day 4 that I was able to kind of go back on that same road with a lot more confidence. I was actually able to go back. I ordered some food from a restaurant and I was carrying it back in one hand, using my other hand to stabilize myself, but I was much more comfortable. I wasn't super scared that I was gonna fall off into the road. So in about 4 days, I was actually pretty comfortable with this. I think it took me about 8 or 9 full days before I really got super comfortable with it, where I could pull out my phone and answer a text, or not pay so much attention to my balance while I was riding this. So one thing to keep in mind is the type of shoes you wear. I always started out wearing Converse, and those are really sticky, so if I didn't get my foot exactly where I wanted it to, I'd kind of have to stop, readjust, and then start again, because I wasn't able to adjust my foot or scoot it while I was going, because otherwise it would throw off my balance. So the type of shoes you wear is kind of important. You want to get something that's not insanely sticky where you can't move your foot while you're riding. So another thing I wanted to mention is when I ride it quite a long period of time, maybe more than 30 minutes or so, my forward knee will kind of hurt a bit. I don't know if that's an existing problem that's kind of making itself aware now that I'm doing something more active, or if it's because of the board. But I've noticed that if I point my knees or put my toes more forward in the direction I'm going, which I guess is, I've heard is the Rocky Mountain stance for snowboarding, then it helps it a little bit. So if you get a board and you kind of notice that, then maybe doing the Rocky Mountain stance might be something helpful for you. So the Pint has a feature called Simple Stop, and what it does is when you come to like a almost complete stop and you start rolling backwards, it'll roll you back a few inches and then allow you to drop the board down. So the XR does not have this feature. Maybe they'll put it in a future update. You can also turn this feature off on the Pint, and to dismount the board you would just jump straight off. You can also do a type of stop where you pull your foot off of one of the sides of the pads and it'll stop. I haven't mastered that yet, but I really do like Simple Stop now that I've figured out how to use it. So here's what I figured out so far for Simple Stop. When I was starting out, I would come to a point where I wanted to stop, and then I would just slam the back of the board down to try and just stop right where I was. And it doesn't want to do that because what happens is when you roll to an almost stop, the board doesn't know you want to stop. Like sometimes you might be waiting for a pedestrian, or for some reason you just don't want to stop, but you want to slow down to a really slow speed. So the board will still stay engaged until you lean backwards, and that's when it knows, hey, this person wants to stop. It'll slowly roll you back to the stop. So if you're trying to slam it down right instantly where you stop, that's where it's going to try and throw you off. The biggest problem I had was learning how to keep my balance while it was slowly pushing me back to the stop. So the best way to figure out Simple Stop is to learn your balance. Once you come to the point where you want to stop, make sure you keep your balance while you're rolling backwards, and then it'll gently set you down to a stop. There's settings in the app where you can adjust the board speed and how it handles, and I set it on the slowest speed so that way I wouldn't get too carried away and go too fast and end up crashing or something. But there's points where I would start going faster and maybe feel a little more comfortable, and the board has this thing called pushback. And what it does is once you get to a point where you're maxing out the motor, either because of a slower speed you set, maybe because it's too windy, or if you're going uphill and you're just, getting to the point where the motor's maxed out, it'll take the board and just kind of apply brakes basically. But if you've not done this before, what it feels like is, it feels like someone has walked up behind you, grabbed the board, and is slowly like tilting it, like grabbing it and pulling on you. So the first time I experienced this, I thought the board might have been going crazy or there was something wrong with it, but no, it's just a safety feature. One thing that was super helpful when I first started is I found a group on Facebook for my area, and it was really nice to just kind of go out with a bunch of people who have had experience with the One Wheel and kind of get their tips and tricks, how to better balance, how to better get accustomed to it. Another kind of little bonus of this is they're pretty unique. Like not a lot of people have seen this type of thing around. You've seen a skateboard before, but just a long board with a big old wheel in the middle is very unique to people. You get a lot of people asking how it works or if you made it or something. And it's kind of fun to just kind of have something unique. So just to bring this video back to photography a little bit, I've changed this view to super view so you can kind of see what's around me. There's a park in my neighborhood that has a whole bunch of different murals and flowers and kind of arrangements and just different cool stuff that a lot of photographers shoot at. So I've been meaning to come here for a while, and this board is the perfect excuse to come explore this park. So One Wheel makes 3 basic boards. They have the One Wheel Pint, the One Wheel Plus, and the One Wheel Plus XR. The Plus XR, most people just call it the XR, so if you hear people saying I have a Pint or I have an XR, that's what they mean. On the Plus XR, it has extended range, so it makes sense that the XR stands for extra radical. So which board should you get? Kind of depends. So if you're wanting a board to like really get into the sport of it, maybe you need a commuter board, you just want to use it for a long period of time, go off-roading, do some trails and stuff, then the XR is probably going to be your best bet. The Pint is more, I think, just to kind of try and get into it. For me, it's actually pretty cool because I'm just using it for exploring places. I generally have to like drive to where I'm gonna go, or I take it with me and then I go explore around for maybe an hour, hour and a half, and then, you know, get bored and come back home. So if you're wanting to spend, you know, a day on it, then I think the XR is for you. You can also do trails where they have charging places and things, and you don't have to charge as often on your XR, but you do on the Pint, so there's a little bit more calculation involved when you are going out to do a trail or something. But yeah, for the most part, if you're just kind of joyriding and just want something for a little bit of fun, the Pint is perfect. It's $1,000 at time of recording, but if you want something that's gonna, you know, get you into the sport or maybe commute and all that stuff, then I think the XR is a good way to go. So would I recommend spending the money on this type of thing? If you have it, yeah. I'm more of a fair weather rider, so I'm gonna ride this during the summer and kind of explore my area. A lot of people will ride them in the fall and the spring, maybe when it's colder. I may not. You can actually change the tires out on them and probably ride them in the winter, like put a grippier tire on there. But that's probably not for me, but it's totally doable. You can also ride them on trails and on grass. You can ride them indoors if people let you. So it's actually pretty versatile. So yeah, if you have the money for this, then I would definitely recommend buying one. All right, everyone, so that concludes my review / show and tell of this One Wheel Pint. If you guys have any questions, leave in the comments field. I'll do my best to answer them. And thanks everyone for watching.